Good evening, sir. This is Officer Barkley with McLean County Sheriff's Department. Do you know why I pulled you over this evening?
I got no idea, officer.
Okay.
I don't know anything. What?
Okay, well, the reason I pulled you over is because you were swerving back there, and you crossed the double yellow line there on the curb, which is really dangerous. You been drinking this evening?
Just a sip. I mean, that's all. It's just a sip.
Just a sip, huh?
That's
Okay,
Just
all right.
one. I got.
All right, I'm going to have you blow into this breathalyzer. Blow really hard. Give it all you got. Oh, my God.
What did I pass?
You shouldn't even be alive. You blew a 666.
Wow. Is that a pass? Did I win?
Mother, man.
What is up, everybody? What's going on?
You know, it's hilarious in that intro when it makes that like blowing into the balloon noise. All three of my dogs stood attentive, not wanting to be blamed for whatever that noise was.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. Yeah, my computer, I don't know, it like dropped the audio dropped out of that intro for a sec. I'm not sure what happened, but we are live and we're doing this once again. It was a good success, I thought, last week, guys. I had a lot of fun working together with both of you, and you guys got to work together for the first time, which is cool. So, AR, how did you feel about last week?
You know, it was a pleasure meeting Lee. The first thing I wanted to say, it was definitely a pleasure meeting Lee. And I've been distant from the YouTube streets, not be able to see everybody that's out working their butts off. But I do stop in. I do check in with Lee. I interact within his community every once in a while in the chat. Just great. It was a great time with both of you. And I don't work with many creators, and I don't even have the want to anymore. But you two, it's definitely a pleasure, and it's a blessing to be back up here with both of you.
Awesome. And Lee, always fun working with you. You're just that rebel out there on the West Coast. But
I wouldn't say rebel, and I do want to say again with AR, yeah, it was great because I mean, you and I have been flirting around the idea of getting on camera together and never had done it, and it was real natural and easy for us. So I appreciate that we had an opportunity to do that, and here we are doing it again. So I'm excited about that, and yeah, it's been fantastic. But rebel, I am not a rebel.
Well, hopefully we get Lucky in here, AR. That'd be fun to get him on this as well. But I did have something, AR, we're always really wary about bringing somebody new into the circle, and we took Lee in, a little cautiously, want to be careful. So we have our feelers out there to make sure like he's legit and everything else. And something's come up, AR. I want to bring it up with Lee here, not to like call him out on this, but I'm going to share the screen. I'm going to share this screen with you.
What the hell are you doing, sir? There's no blind sides on this shit. What the? I'm going to call you out on camera. Like what? What? No wonder you didn't send the show notes ahead of time.
No, this.
Oh, don't worry, Lee. I've been through this too. He'll probably call me out right after you.
Oh, that's good.
I'm looking for it. Oh,
my full blown.
Technical difficulties are going to save my ass. He probably has something really embarrassing, like me sitting eating Oreos in my underwear or something, and he's going to put it on screen.
No, you guys see that thumbnail here? I got to find here it is.
Oh shit! Here we go.
You see this?
I saw a thumbnail that you sent me.
Okay. Look at this.
Oh, you're talking about my hat?
What is that hat, AR? Do you see what that says on his hat? Oh, it won't let me go.
Oh, I know. I know what you're doing.
You see that? I love Moscow PD. I mean, what?
Yeah,
What are we associating with?
I mean, after they asked me for $20,000 for the body worn cameras, I thought that's amazing. You guys have some balls. That impresses me. So yeah, I love Moscow.
So there you go. So I knew why that the hat was blank.
I'm just glad, Lee, he didn't put on my hat. I work for Moscow, Lee.
Oh, I had an idea for you in that pimpin' hat. I was going to put something on there. I couldn't be sure which I was going to go with, so I went with Lee first. But we're all subject to abuse here, so I thought you guys would like that. I was surprised that none of the viewers contacted me about like what's up with the hat, so nobody noticed it.
Well, good. I mean, I think they knew that you were full of shit on that editing a job is what happened.
Yeah. Yeah. And I got a shirt on today. I'll show you guys. I got this shirt. I don't know if I've shown it on here before or not.
That's not bad. I like that.
No, man.
I wore it to my doctor's appointment today, and my surgeon was just laughing, and the nurses were laughing. I'm quite the comedian over there, apparently. So
you remind me, by the way, I'm in a really super small community, and a guy was a double amputee. He was on fake feet kind of thing, and he saw me. I'd never seen him before. He saw me and deadpanned, asks his wife, "Where the hell's the foot cream around here? I can't find the foot cream." And I did a double take, and I'm looking at him like, and then he got this grin on his face, like he was loving every minute of me doing the double take kind of thing. I'm like, you have a good sense of humor. I like people.
That's funny. You ever seen the show The League?
Yeah, I think I have.
When that used to be on, that's a great show. But there's an episode where a guy is in a wheelchair and he has no feeling in his legs. And he's in a sporting goods store, and this other guy's trying to buy these sneakers. These like supposed to be top of the market and everything, and there's only one pair left. So he gets them, and then this other guy somehow picks the box up, and so they have this like confrontation. And he's like, the guy's like, "Well, what do you need them for?" Like not to be rude, but my God, like what the hell does it matter? And this guy's like flipping out. It's so funny, making ADA, violation.
Normally, I don't like that kind of stuff. I like the awkward, like, am I supposed to laugh at this or not? But
I really love that show, and that's just really funny. But anyway, good to see everybody here. And this is funny because I have sent the notes to these guys twice, or at least once, I know for sure, and they are not getting them. So we are doing this cold on their end, but I have the notes for me, so we should be okay. But we're professionals.
As long as somebody knows what the hell we're doing, we're okay.
And we'll be just fine. But definitely welcome to AR from A Convict's Thoughts, Lee from Devil's Advocates. I'll flash their handles up on the screen as we go, so you can make sure you go and subscribe to them. And I know that they're probably broadcasting this on their channels. So we just want the whole community to, get on the different channels and like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Also, we don't put up with any nonsense in the live. So we got Donna Lembo, and I'm not sure if Catherine is back from vacation yet, but we've got others as well as myself and AR that can, take care of business. So just not going to put up with any of it. So if that's what you're here for, just go somewhere else. But we're going to do this, in an
I
hour
no
and a
longer
half.
take care of anything, Pete. I PC'd up last week. I'm out. Like,
Shit.
I'm in protected custody for the week. I'm done. I'm out.
Okay. I would have never thought. But yeah, we're going to be talking Idaho 4. There's still stuff going on. It's relevant. These docs are dropping, and I know Lee, you've been really up on that on your channel. I've been really impressed with that. I want to definitely talk about that with you tonight, and all of us batted around of what's been going on with the docs. But also, guys, if you haven't checked out my new live show here on the channel, the Serial Killer Story Hour here on Tuesdays, at 7 p.m. Central, 1 hour or less, and live discussions about various serial offenders, so to speak. And we do that on the more obscure cases, like we did Joel Rifkin, we did Harvey Glattman, we did a Canadian case, Alan Legier, which was a good one this last week. But next week is going to be a female. I'm going to go a little more modern with Taylor Shabusiness. It's going to be nuts, and no pun intended. And we're going to do that next week with a friend of mine, Juan Molina, a good dude from the band Blessed with Pain. And so, what better person to have on when we're talking about that chick? So it's going to be wild. Tuesday, 7 p.m. Also, we got new merch. I've been mentioning this on our community board. Got sales going on. I mean, really good sales over there at T Public. So I'll put a link up on the screen for that. It's in the description as well, so you can go right there. All sorts of Murder Metal Mayhem merch on various things: phone cases and magnets and stickers and T-shirts and hoodies and on, pillows. I mean, you could go crazy. You could decorate your whole house with all the merch that's on there. And I got the old school logo, and then I've got a different logo with a big splash of blood on it. It says, "I need my 666 fix" in the blood, and people are digging on that. And then I got Horns High Club member shirts, and then Mayhem Squad member shirts. And so yeah, I got a lot on there. So you want to go check that out. Also, don't forget to like this video. Drop a comment if you're watching on the replay. If you're watching it live, jump in on the chat and be cool, and we'll have a good time. All right. And thank you to the members of the Horns High Club and the Mayhem Squad for that support. Okay, so getting all that out, like to kind of start talking about, or start this conversation out with a fan favorite, so to speak, and that's Dylan Mortensen. I mean, her story. I mean, it has changed so many. I don't even know. Should like storyboard it out and see like how many different changes she's had on what she said has happened. And now there's this new witness apparently from the Idaho State Police records, and I don't know if you've come across this yet, Lee, or not, but says that Dylan was not drunk.
I saw that headline. I haven't read it in the report because I haven't gotten that far into the reports, but I did see somebody talk about that. Yeah.
I wondered if you had gotten to it, because that's all I know about it. But I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, none of us put a whole lot of credibility on Dylan, but what is that? How does that change things? I mean, she said she was drunk, so she didn't seem guilty. So now, if that's proven to be BS, like, how do you not think that something's going on? I mean, why else would you lie about something like that, right? I don't know.
Well, my first thought was, I was, when I first heard the comment that somebody had given a testimony saying that Dylan hadn't been drinking, I was like, wait a minute, how do we know? Because Dylan said she was flat out wasted. And I was trying to remember, how many times did we hear people report that Dylan was wasted? And the only person I remember hearing that Dylan was wasted was Dylan herself saying, I started drinking like a day and a half before the murders and never stopped drinking since like 2 days before the murders. And I'm thinking, I don't remember off the top of my head, I don't remember anybody else giving testimony that, oh yeah, Dylan was wasted. Oh yeah, Dylan was wasted. So I was like, well, now that's interesting, because what you've got is Dylan, whose credibility is a little shaky already, saying that she was hammered. And now there's somebody coming forward saying, no, she wasn't hammered. She wasn't even drinking. So if I had to weigh, that's the only two evidences, her word versus somebody else's. Where am I going with that? Like, but right. I don't know. I mean, I can't remember. Has anybody else repeatedly verified that she was hammered that night?
I was something that I think she told one of the investigators. AR, are you familiar with where that all came from?
Just from her interviews, talking about what she had consumed. And, You know, to be
Right.
honest with you, if I'd consumed what she said she had consumed, I would be blitzed myself beyond belief. But who's to say that's truly what somebody drank or not? You know, I don't I don't give her a lot of credibility in a lot of things she said, because nothing's ever come truthful about anything she said so far, and it just is what it's just sad, because Brian Koberger had the opportunity with his defense team to put these people on the stand and tear apart their testimony. And
Right. Yeah.
unfortunately, I think that's what all of us were anticipating. We just wanted the testimony. We wanted the interaction between the attorneys like Ann Taylor and Massoff, being able to question these people to get real and truthful, you know, so-called answers. And now we won't ever see that. And that's pretty sad. That's sad.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's the number one travesty of this whole thing, is that we're not going to see a trial where you can have all the evidence questioned. We were robbed that opportunity, so that sucks.
I mean, I learned one thing through my court experiences is a liar on the stand will always shine bright, because they start fumbling upon their own words, and you can see it within their movements, and they get nervous. And I think across the board, Ann Taylor and Massoff would have had people squirming in their seats of trying to give testimony in this case. And I wanted to see it just for that factor. I wanted to see people get caught up in their own wording and their own mishaps of truth telling. And now I don't think we're ever going to see that now. And that's sad. It's really, really sad.
No, it is. It's terrible to not have that, you know, even for those of us that have been so emotionally vested in this case. I mean, to just have like run into a brick would be like reading a book that you're like really engulfed in, and then like, you know, the last two chapters are missing. Just the book just stops suddenly, and it's like, what? I want
to add to what AR has said too. Here's the thing. I think personally, what would have happened if they had the trial is if you got Bethany and Dylan on the stand, they were in deep shit, because Ann Taylor would have shredded them. And I think that already happened without Ann Taylor there. Without her there, the grand jury already didn't believe Dylan's testimony and Bethany's testimony and thought that they should be investigated. And that wasn't with the defense poking holes in it. If they had gotten on the stand, they would be in deep shit. And I think it goes further than that. I think if Ann Taylor had been able to question law enforcement about how quickly they ruled certain other alternative suspects out, they would be in deep shit. So I think it was a great thing. It was a great win for the prosecution to get a plea deal, because I think they would have been in deep shit if they had gotten into a courtroom with that. But not to say that Koberger would have got off. I'm just saying that they would have had some major hurdles to get around.
Dude, that would have been reasonable doubt, like from the get-go with those two fools.
This case had mistrial spelled out all over this case from start to finish. And I don't see any way that the state of Idaho would have been able to prosecute Brian Koberger. But in their back pocket, I think they had federal ways that they could have gone, which we don't know. We're never going to see that federal information. We're never going to see that. So I might just be speculating just on thoughts and opinions. But no, I know for a fact if we had watched this play out in the courts of Idaho with Bill Thompson as the prosecutor, this case would have fallen apart to where a mistrial, it would have happened quick and easily.
Dude, any one of the three of us could have defended this case. I mean, Ann Taylor, I'm not taking anything away from her. I'm just saying, like, I don't understand how you couldn't win this case on reasonable doubt when you've got so much reasonable doubt that it's unbelievable. I mean, you could, it's crazy. And I think he would have walked. I really do.
And I just saw, you know, we're kind of beating a dead horse at this point, right? But I just saw a new article. I had it kind of bookmarked. I think it was on Fox News with Dallinger, talking about how the prosecution was stunned that they came forward and said they wanted a plea deal or whatever. And that essentially, in Dallinger's word, was they took it immediately. That there was very little talk about it. It was like, take it. You know, if the defense wants a plea, take it. Because I think they knew they were in trouble. And as they said, the win for them was if they went for the death penalty, there was a possibility that they wouldn't get the death penalty and there would be problems. But if they take what they've got, he will die in prison. He will spend the rest of his life in prison. He will die in prison, and that's a win for them. So when they got that offer, they were like, settle, sign the deal, because they knew they were going to be in trouble in court, and they were stunned that it was even offered. So it's crazy.
Both of you, just think in your minds, you guys have both been around the block for a long time around true crime. Think of one case in the entirety of all of your studying that came right to the doorstep of trial, where there were so many questions, so much support for a defendant, there was so much just rotating around, and then a plea bargain is requested for by the defendant with nothing less than the max sentencing across the board.
Yeah.
Think of one. I can't name one. I don't know about you guys.
No, I can't think of one either. Normally that stuff's done right out of the box. I mean, you're guilty. You're going to avoid the death penalty, claim, plead guilty, get life without parole, but at least you're not going to be on death row. And that's the way they usually go. I mean, you don't usually see an 11th hour dramatic, that's why I think the whole thing's a play, because it's written like you're watching like a Matlock episode or something. It's some crazy shit happens at the last second.
I've been offered a plea bargain at or before my arraignment in every single case I've ever gone to court on. They've had a plea bargain available and ready the minute that we start the process. Now, don't get me wrong, I wasn't death penalty eligible, but Brian Koberger wasn't facing the death penalty at the very beginning of this case either. When he went to arraignment, death penalty was not already on the table. And that's something I want to do some content on. How does Brian Koberger sit in general population with people that were interviewed by the Idaho State Police? It's because he wasn't charged with death penalty yet. So he was sitting in Latah County general population with other inmates. And that's how they were able to talk to him until he was charged with the death penalty. Then they had to move him downstairs. But to think that he waited almost 3 years for a plea bargain, and he's one that requested that, meaning he could have requested it at any point in time. And we all know Bill Thompson would have taken that death penalty right off the table immediately for a plea agreement. He does it in every cases that he tries.
Right.
Every case he's tried, except for one, he went all the way with one death penalty case, and he got the death penalty conviction in that case that was later overturned. Bill Thompson has no convictions in capital cases at all.
Right.
I had to take this to trial, where you start negotiating a plea agreement early, and that's when you bring to the table, if I plea out right now, give me, I don't know, knock some of this down where I got a possibility in 52 years that I can go for parole. Just something on the table. You're not going to get it, but at least try to negotiate.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes no sense at all. Honestly, it's just a question within a question within a question. It's just one of those type of things.
Those, by the
like
way,
a money grab. Lee, does it feel like a money grab to you? The lawyers are getting paid big dollars. The case is staying current with everybody, making big dollars, both through media, through multimedia. I mean, just everything's making money on this case. Even Brian Koberger.
Well, they certainly
people were talking about Dylan and that. Brian Koberger's racking it up in his account there in the penitentiary too. Trust me.
Yeah, there was certainly a lot of money that came in for enhancing security on Idaho campus. Afterwards, they got a bunch of money for that, and a lot of that money. There's questions into where that money went, whether it went to whether it lined people's pockets or whether it went to actual enhancing of security on campus like it was supposed to. So there is a money element for the whole thing for sure.
Yeah, I don't see money's they talk about the root of all evil, right? But it's or the love of money is the root of all evil. I always get people that correct me in the comments about that.
So. To be fair, like my opinion kind of is the answer to why the plea deal came at the last minute was, I've said it before, but I'll say it one more time, which is Bill Thompson said the best way to word it. When it became apparent to Ann Taylor that Hitler was not going to allow her to present alternative suspects, they asked for a plea. Because I think she already knew it was going to be an unfair trial the entire way. And the last thing was, well, we've got a whole list of people that you overlooked that have better motives and had opportunity. And so let me bring that up to the trial. And they said, nope, you're never allowed to talk about it because the killer arrived in a car and those people lived right next door. So we're not going to let you talk about it. And as soon as she realized Hitler's not even going to allow her to bring up that people could have walked next door and committed the murders, that had motive and knew the place, they threw in the towel, I think. And it's like, look, this is never going to be a fair trial. It hasn't been from day one. And now we're coming up to the deadline. Shit or get off the pot. Your only chance is, you're going to get executed if we go through with this. Take the deal. I don't know. That's my gut.
Pete, you and I both know he wouldn't have been executed anytime soon.
No.
And he would have had appeal after appeal. Look, I've been saying this since the very beginning. Pete, you know this. I didn't want to see Brian Koberger fight this case at the state level anyway. I wanted him to go into the appeal process, step his 2 feet into a Supreme Court, both in Idaho and the federal Supreme Court, and attack the very guidelines of this investigation and the way that they cut corners, the way judges signed off on warrants that should have never been signed off on. This should have been a battle of law-changing extremes. And instead, Ann Taylor, look, I get it, Lee. I get what you're saying, that, okay, you can't enter an alternative perp defense. You can't do this. You know what? Buck it up, because you don't have to go with that defense at trial. You just break down the state's case and make them look foolish and liars.
Yeah.
And then you get your reasonable doubt right there.
Right. Yeah. I agree. And Hitler even did allow her some latitude. He said, I'm not going to allow you to bring in and say, here's the names of alternative suspects, but I will allow you to interview and cross-examine the officers in there and ask them questions. And I think his wording was something like, if they open up the line of inquiry, like if you can get them to trip up and admit something, then you can explore that and bring it in that way. So she had an avenue even by him to explore that. But I think it was obvious that he was going to try to fight that the entire way and not let her do it. But
there's no way that guy could have been any more biased. I mean, it was the most absurd, just disregard. I mean, talk about not giving an F. I mean, this guy just flat out was making moves that were so obviously prosecution. And I know that traditionally judges do tend to lean that way, but
I don't know what the avenues are, because I don't know a bunch about the law. I mean, I break down legal documents, but I feel like the PCA was bullshit in the first place. Somebody should have challenged that. Yeah. And I feel like the entire actions of Hitler through the trial were completely biased. Somebody should put Hitler under review. Was that judge being fair in this case? And will an appellate court step in at some point and a Supreme Court step in and look at this and say, that guy never had a fair trial and never had a chance from day one because the judge was doing things that no other judge would have done. So,
it's obvious there was never going to be a fair trial when Hitler himself said, Brian, you should have never left your DNA at the scene. And he said that in open court for everybody. You can't say that as a judge. Right. You're there to monitor the law. You're there to ensure both parties stay within the law. You're not there to make your opinion. You're not there to make your thought of guilt towards a defense. You're there to mediate and ensure every step is followed by the law. And look, ladies and gentlemen, everybody that's watching the show, we all saw it with our own eyes. That man was not mediating the law. Right. He was looking at Brian Koberger as a guilty defendant. And I think every statement, look, I was in the courtroom. Lee, I know you made it in the courtroom as well. I sat in the very courtroom, and look, my stomach, I literally halfway through the hearing I was at, my stomach was so upset. It's growling louder than the dog snoring next to me in the courtroom. Like, people were looking at me like, you're getting sick. I am getting sick to my stomach, because this reminds me so much of why I never want to step foot into a courtroom and go to trial again, because you most times know in your mind you don't have a chance, especially when a judge And think about this too, guys, and I'm going to throw it back into your court. Think about now, Ann Taylor, if she ever decides to defend another client, do you think she'll ever get another expert like Cy Ray willing to come up and step up to the plate to try to help her defense? Would
No
she
way.
allow the judge to call him a conspiracy theorist?
Right.
And did
That was
nothing about it.
That
Nothing.
was bogus. No, nothing conspiratorial whatsoever. And Wendy Nelligan, a friend of my channel, AR, I know you know Wendy too. I can't wait to hear from Cy Ray. What do you guys think? Will we? Is the guy going to come forward and spill the beans on what he knows, or is he writing a book, or is he going to be doing an interview on Devil's Advocates? I don't know.
I got two things. Now I want to comment on something AR said about being in the courtroom, and I want to talk about Cy Ray. So I don't know which one to go with first. Going back for a moment to being in the courtroom, when I was there for, the change of plea, and I'm not a vocal person, and I really would have never done it. But my feeling inside, when the judge said, "I want you to hear what the prosecution would have had to have proven in court, and then I want you to hear what they would have been able to prove in court," and as I listened to him say, he had nothing. I almost wanted to come out of the chair and what the hell are you doing taking this plea? They don't have anything. Are you kidding me? Literally, they just told you. I want you to hear what they would have had to prove and what they would have tried to prove. And I'm looking at him they got nothing. They just told you they have nothing. How are you taking that deal? It was nuts. Sorry for the rant.
Yeah. No, it's fine. No, that's fine. It's interesting to hear everybody's take on all this stuff, because it's just, sometimes with a case like this, Delphi, some of these stranger cases that go in a very conspiratorial type directions. I mean, Delphi was a carbon copy of this one. I mean, it's bizarre how similar the cases were, with the judge in the can for the prosecution and doing everything she could to put up roadblocks and putting the damn guy in a prison instead of a jail. I mean, that's just crazy. So there's a lot of stuff in that Delphi trial that was really terrible. And this reminds me of that. I mean, just this, you watch My Cousin Vinny and those goofy shows, but they show the whole backward town law systems all kind of corrupted, and everybody knows everybody, and speaking of that sheriff that shot that judge, I watched an update on that case. Wow, that is nuts. I'm thinking about trying to do a video on that tomorrow, but really weird sex related stuff, in the chambers all over the place in the building with inmates, and guards taking inmates home and using them at home and then bringing them back in the morning for commissary. I mean, that's just insane, so I'll be doing some Metal Mayhem on that.
What case is that? I can't remember this case. I remember something about a judge.
What the sheriff? It's in Kentucky. It's Sean.
I should probably stay the hell away from that case, because I will probably make an embarrassment of myself if I start covering that shit.
Yeah, I'm definitely on it. Yeah, I did a video on it when it first happened, but this was just off the hook. I mean, just really wild. So,
but going back to Cy Ray, that I was going to make that point on. The question about what is Cy Ray going to say? I always felt like we might. So first of all, it cannot be understated. Cy Ray has always, in his entire career, testified on behalf of the prosecution. This was the first time in his entire career he's ever come out, and that tells you something right there.
Big time.
Second of all, the guy isn't an expert. He is literally the expert in cell phone timing advance records. He literally teaches the FBI how to use this. They use his software to do what they do, which is why he said, you couldn't have got the information that you got on Brian Koberger without having this as well. I know it because I wrote effing software. Like I literally know you're not telling the truth about this. Now the third point though that's hard is it doesn't mean Cy Ray was going to say or he knew definitively Brian Koberger wasn't there or didn't go to the house. What he's saying is what you're telling us is not the full picture. And I know because I wrote the software, I know what you had to have seen, and you're hiding part of the information. So the $1 million question is, did Cy Ray know what they were hiding? And because there's an adage that says, don't ask a question you don't already know the answer to. So does he know the answer and it proves that Brian Koberger wasn't there and he was waiting for it to come out? Or is he just guessing, like, you're hiding something for a reason? So all I can tell you is that you're hiding. So once I can prove you're hiding, then let's take a look. Because he always kind of maintained, I don't know that this proves anything, but I know they're not telling the truth.
Right. Yeah, it's very, very suspicious. I mean, just as everything else is with this. But I would have loved to have seen Cy Ray just desecrate the other side. I mean, going up against Brett Payne, you know, the dude that looks like he should have been on Lost in Space or something with that dome. Round head of his looked like a Martian or something, but and I'm a bald dude, but this guy just that one picture of him just cracks me up. But anyway, I mean, Cy Ray would have just made mincemeat out of those guys if they were going to try to counteract what he said and make him look bad in any way, because he had the receipts, man, so to speak. So I think he would have. Yeah, I think it would have been interesting, and it would have been tough to refute at that point.
And like you guys said, Hitler calling him a conspiracy theorist, I fundamentally, that shows you almost everything you need to know about this judge. To take a world-leading expert in the case and call him a conspiracy theorist, I was like, what the hell is this judge doing? Like, I can't even imagine that. Oh yeah, his testimony is not important. He's a conspiracy theorist. Like, are you kidding me?
You believe at the end of the day, Brian Koberger's probably regretting that he moved the case out of Judge's hands? Like, he had a better chance in Latah County with Judge, even if it is a bias area against Koberger. He had a better shot there because at least John Judge would listen to things, and then yes, he took time to make decisions, but at least he listened. Hitler shut it down from the get-go.
Wow, yeah, we have this donation here, a super sticker, I think, of $100, which is very nice. I don't know which one of our channels this goes to, but
you.
It goes to you.
Oh, okay.
I peed myself for you, so I was like, "Oh, you just got a hammer dropped on you."
Wow, that's very nice of you. I really appreciate that, Moto Man MX. Very, very cool. Appreciate that. But that was the prosecution strategy the whole time, I believe. Of course, anything that could have appeared as evidence was likely to be shot down in trial. I believe the prosecution was so far over its head due to mistakes, they had to use the judge to bail them out. Yeah, I agree. I mean, if you got the judge in your hip pocket, that's really, I mean, it's tough to get around that. I mean, you guys pointed out, he's there to run the show. He's there to make sure everybody's playing by the rules. If he himself or she herself were not playing by the rules, then what else is going to fall away? And we saw that with Delphi, multiple things that they did that I would be shocked if that case doesn't get appealed.
What I don't know, and I need to get the answer to this, and I've got some lawyer friends, so I think I might pitch this to my lawyer friends. What I don't know is, sure, Brian Koberger has waived his right to appeal, and that window is about to 100% close. Like, we're really close now, right? And that's fine and dandy. But can anyone in America, like myself, file some kind of formal grievance to say, I think the judge needs to be investigated, and submit some kind of lawsuit against the state of Idaho for improper trial? It's not coming from Koberger, coming from somebody in the public who's saying, I think we just got this trail got railed. Is there anything the public can do to file some kind of formal grievance and start an investigation? And if that's the case, I need to find out what that looks like.
It's called a petition. You got to file petitions. In one of my cases, the community filed petitions, in regards to the prosecutorial process that was happening. It was a group of us. We were organized crime, so there was numerous of us being involved in that, and they were really trumping up the charges, literally for like organized petty theft. They wanted to give us all RICO life charges. It's like, dude, we stole some bubble gum. You need to slow down a little bit here. But petitions went a long way. But I'm telling you that, somebody like Judge Hippler in the Idaho, backed by the federal jurisdiction there in Idaho. You got to remember, they hand selected him. They picked him for this. Right. They have that man's back.
Right.
Good luck.
It's a tough road to haul. Yeah.
Yeah. Good luck. I mean, even getting it heard is going to be a good luck. Yeah. A lot of people have asked me, they've reached out. They're like, AR, why aren't you stepping in and doing what you can to bring light to Brian Koberger's situation? Because my hands are tied too. By him taking this plea bargain, I've reached out. I've spoken to organizations that could have potentially helped him. They can't now. Yeah. They cannot. So it's like, what am I supposed? I'm just a little bitty guy here. I'm not that big of a voice, and I'm a convict. So they're just going to hit me with contempt of court and just all kinds of crazy stuff to shut me up anyway. But people could do their due diligence. You are taxpayers, especially if you're in the area. You're taxpayers. Your taxpayer dollars matter. You can go to town hall meetings. You can do different things. You can raise questions and see what you can do.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line is it probably has more weight if it comes from an Idaho citizen, and I'm not in Idaho, so I don't know that.
Right.
Yeah, it's got to come.
We get a lot of listeners and viewers that are from Idaho.
Right, we do.
Messages all the time. So
in fact, let me tell you a little secret. By the way,
calls. I mean, do what you can. It seems like there's just something that's got to be done. I agree with you guys. Before I forget, too, Pamela Atterbury here posted Mickey Steins. That's the guy's name, the sheriff in Kentucky, if you're interested in that case. But Murder Metal Mayhem will be doing something on that tomorrow, so you can look forward to that. But,
I would be careful pushing the issue right now in regards to this court process in Idaho, because give it a minute. The feds are going to charge Brian Koberger here very soon. It's coming. The groundwork's laid out. We're already seeing the remnants of what they're going to go. The 10 IDs of the various girls found in his closet is federal charges by itself. Don't be surprised. I mean, there's something behind the scenes here that's happening. I know everybody thinks it's to benefit Brian Koberger. I don't think it's in benefit of Brian Koberger at all. I think there's problems.
What was that, AR, about the IDs? How is that? Can you explain?
So they found girls' IDs that he used to work with, that he went to school with, in the closet of his home, wrapped up. They had no knowledge or idea of how he had them. This is signs that he either stole them or however he got them. I don't even care if somebody gave them to you. That's a federal identification. You're not allowed to have other people's IDs ever. That's a federal crime. That's federal. I used to make fake IDs. I got hit with federal crimes for each one of those because those people were not me. The pictures weren't me. The names weren't me. The IDs were not mine. That's a federal charge. And for each one, it's maximum penalties of X amount of years and X amount of fines. And that's on top of him now being a convicted felon in Idaho for first degree and all these things. They're going to trump up those charges with whatever else they could potentially have. We don't know. Right. We don't know what they're stirring up behind the scenes. Right. But that's a start right there to a federal crime.
Good points, man. Good points. So I can't get a fake ID, AR, and say that I'm Lee and cause all kinds of.
Well, I can make you one, but you and I are going to spend some time in some gruesome places.
Oh yeah, no, I don't want to do that, AR. I don't want to.
And I wouldn't want to do it to Lee either, because I'm going to really take his credit to just shy down. Let me tell you.
I can't edit a thumbnail, much less do a fake ID, so we're all right.
Yeah. Well, I could put I love Moscow PD on a hat using Adobe Express.
I used to make fake IDs, fake credit cards that were tied to people's accounts. I could get checks. Man, I'll tell you what, the things that you learn through some of these actual real criminal minds, it's amazing to see what these people could do. And then you just pick up the little tricks. It's like, man,
Yeah.
that really wasn't that hard until you're in cuffs, waiting to go to court. You're like, damn, that was pretty hard, man.
Right.
Wish I hadn't done that one.
Yeah, that's interesting because you always hear about that, guys. When somebody goes to prison, they're going to learn from the best.
Right.
They're going to be in there with the rest of them. Of course, the ones that got caught. So I guess in theory, the best would be the ones that don't get caught. But any show I've ever watched, or movie I've ever watched, or book I've ever read about, AR was talking about organized crime or anything like that, there's never a happy ending. It's always a horrific bloodbath, or people going away forever, like that kind of stuff. And it's not
Before
good.
we move on, I just want to make you guys laugh real quick.
Yeah.
So I learned how to file my taxes in the penitentiary from inmates that were filing their taxes for various people out on the streets that were not legitimate, so they could get $8,000, and they just requested that you put half of that money on their books. So, like, if I had 4 or 5 family members that we could legitimately file taxes on, they knew how to do the numbers and do all the deductions and all this crazy stuff that no matter what, you got $8,000 back, and all you had to do was put $4,000 on their book. Man, I was learning as quick as I could. How do we do this? And how many, people in here need their taxes done? I got this.
Wow.
That's where I learned to file my own taxes. No joke. The very first time I ever filed taxes was from the penitentiary.
H&R Block on the block.
It's funny, AR, that you mention it, because one of the things that we talked about, not to get super philosophical in the whole whether or not prison, rehabilitates people or just punishes them because of that. But one of the things that I've found from talking to others is that in prison, you pick up new skills. It's like you talk to somebody and like, well, how'd you get caught? I did this. Well, that's not how you do it. What you got to do is so then you get better. Like you don't, it's not like you get reformed, you get better at your techniques next time so you can pull it off, because someone who like, that's not how this is how you do it to get away with it next time.
And Lee, I've tried to tell people, and Pete, I tell people every day, the prison system does not help rehabilitate anybody. Right. There's no rehabilitation within the penitentiary system. It's up to the person to finally make the decision they want to change. There was nothing in there that was going to make me a better person. It was making me a worse person each and every single day. I was getting more angry. I was getting more violent. I was becoming better at theft. I was a better liar. All these things were adding up until one day I lost my visitation with my wife, and they told me I could no longer make phone calls. And I still had 4 years left on my sentence. And I said, wait, what? Yeah. You cannot talk to or see your wife for the next 4 years outside of letters. I said, okay, it's time to change. Like, this shit ain't working no more. I got to go in a different route. This is not working. And that's when people change. Like the Mendez brothers have their, I believe one had a hearing today for their parole, and one has one tomorrow. These two gentlemen seem like they've changed their lives for the better, and they're trying to help other people. But we'll see. We'll see, because prison doesn't change you. You have to change you, and we'll see what happens. We'll see.
And the influences on you are to go the wrong way, right? Rather, you're influenced to become not a better human being, but in some regards a more clever human being. You know what I'm saying?
I was taught to be racist. I was taught to be violent. I was taught that, like, the little old me that went in was a thief and a liar. Mm-hmm. The person that came out was not good, and that's why I went back. And then it finally took the last time of me being down, where I went through a walk away, step down, I'm getting the hell out of this situation type program. I had to change, because I would be sitting right where Brian Koberger is today. I had that violent streak within me that was going to end up in a very bad place. Very, 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 very bad place. To the point I even threatened my own family. Like,
Yeah.
if I get out, you don't want to see me on your doorstep. And they had to call the police on me while I was incarcerated. And I picked up another 1.5 years for threatening and intimidating a family member. That tells you where I was going in life. Completely wrong direction.
Yeah, it's just not a healthy place. Yeah.
Yeah, here's a friend of the channel. I think he's on your guys' channels as well. Chappie.
Yep.
Boss,
Chappie's been a big supporter of Devil's Advocates, and so this
Yeah.
guy's a crack up. I can't drink water when Chappie's in my room because I might spew water out my nose if that guy catches me at the wrong time. So
Yeah,
welcome.
Chappie is a big supporter, and that's super cool. And he did a $4.99 super sticker, so thank you very much, Chappie. That's nice of you. And what's up, freaks, geeks, convicts, and disciples? Get that parental advisory warning on the screen. Chappie, boss in the crib. Can I get a big Ric Flair? Woo!
Woohoo!
Woo!
I have to do this thing. It's like,
If I
Very
did that, my
cool.
teeth would fly out.
freaking Ric Flair.
Thanks, Chappie. That's super cool, man. That's super cool. But yeah, this is it's funny. We're just past the coming up on the hour mark here, and we're just kind of free conversational and really able to talk about this kind of stuff in depth, which is I think for the listeners or viewers that are new to the case, some people may not have followed it when it was going on, and now we're following it, learning about it, getting more in depth on some of this. But even though some of it for us is really kind of mundane because we've covered it so many different times, but it's important. And when it comes to new stuff, Lee, we got docs dropping.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, I mean, your channel, Devil's Advocates, has done an amazing job going through the documents. You went through the Moscow police stuff. Now you're doing the Idaho State Police. What do you want to tell us about that, Lee?
I don't even know where to start. Like, I did 19 hours of document reviews on the Moscow Police Department.
Right.
When it was done, I had a huge amount of document fatigue, but everybody kept pushing me and encouraging me, like, dude, you got to finish this. This is great, And then right when I'm done, I'm thinking, okay, finally, boom, Idaho dropped 600 pages. And I was like, son of a bitch, and sure, I get a few pages in and I've done, I think, 2 hours now. That's all. I haven't gotten very far into the Idaho stuff, as far as the Idaho State Police, you should say.
Right.
And already there was so much to talk about. I'm starting to lose my mind again. I've come up with some new theories that if Brian Kohberger really did do it, and if Dylan said, hey, I think the killer knew me and we may have cleaned up afterwards, which was some new shit that came out. I said, okay, the $1 million question is, how does Dylan and Brian know each other? Because if he's the killer and the killer knew her, then how do they know each other? And it's funny because, as a side tangent, this story that's still being told about Brian Kohberger being an incel and he can't get laid and women don't like him and he's a misogynist or whatever. There's a new story that just came out about new documents that were revealed in the Idaho State Police about a coffee shop worker who was creeped out because Kohberger would keep coming into her shop at the time and knew her hours and whatever. And she talks about how he came in with a female and was hanging out with the female and said something about the girl and said, and she said he was regular with her. And I'm like, I thought Brian Kohberger didn't have any girlfriends. I thought Brian Kohberger couldn't get laid. I thought, like, how was he walking around with, like, everything is just narrative. Like, you can't simultaneously say the guy's an incel and then he's picking up girls' phone numbers at the pool party. He's walking around with females. He's got a female that came over and stayed the night at his house because she was scared and went over to his house and stayed the night. All of that shit comes out, and yet they still say he's an incel that hates women. And it's just like, whatever. And here's the best thing about it on my last bit of my rant, because I'm on a freaking rant, is here's the beauty for news, right? They no longer have any qualms. They can say all day long, and they are now, the cold-blooded killer, Brian Kohberger, came in and did this. The cold-blooded killer, Brian Kohberger, nearly did this. And I'm like, it's funny because it used to have to at least make a semblance of alleged killer, but now they're just flat out saying it because he's done the plea. So now they're having a field day. This person nearly got killed by the cold-blooded murderer who came into her, and I'm like, oh God, here we go. Like now they get to say it without impunity, and it's fair, they can because he took the plea. But
true,
you know.
No, I agree. I thought the same thing, that they're really pouring that on, but no big surprise, AR, the way the media is, the mainstream media, they are just, if it bleeds, it leads, and they're all about that. I mean, would you agree?
Well, I mean, now they're even wanting to say that Brian Koberger said Kaylee's name in the house. How the hell would anybody know that whatsoever? I mean, nobody would know that outside of Dylan, and Dylan doesn't know the last 3 words she said 2 minutes ago. So, I mean, it's like, I can't believe that she would even be able to say that. She never did. If you go through all the reports, she never said that. But that's being now manipulated into the narrative. And I've really, I beat on this narrative push way back when I first came into this platform and started talking. That's one reason why people like Bubbly Waters and some of these other creators started kind of pointing towards me, is I was so hell-bent on pointing at mainstream media saying, you guys are just full of, everything that you could possibly be. I could write. Trust me. I'm not as good of a fictional writer as you are, Pete, but I can make up some stories too. And let me tell you, I just don't see the need for it. But now Brian Koberger has not put himself in a good spot here. Because even if he does potentially want to come in a different way, and let's say he does appeal, and he gets this appeal awarded to him in some way, the narrative now has buried him so deep that you even have people, I don't know whether to trust these people from Washington State University and what they have to say about him. I have no idea, because I've seen people that are around somebody that gets accused of something, and before that they were buddy with them, and then after they get accused, now all of a sudden they're completely against them, saying they saw all the signs, he was going to be this. Yeah. It's like, well, you didn't say that prior to all that happening. Right. You were literally eating a sandwich with him on Tuesday. Don't. Right. So I'm confused. I don't want to get ahead of myself and say there's no potential way that Brian Koberger has some issues. There's a chance. I don't know. I don't know, but I know the mainstream media push now. Brian's got to dig himself out of some real buried holes now if he wants to try to clean up anything. I
want to ask you guys a question, because I've got a user. He's a huge supporter of my show, and he's dying for me to talk about an individual that I'm not ready to talk about. But I was wondering if you guys are. Do you guys have any feelings about the famous Farley that I know that other content creators have really picked up on? And there's some new stuff about Farley. You guys have any feelings about that? Because I've been reluctant to get into the Farley situation, but I got one of my users is constantly like, "Why aren't you talking about Farley? Talk about Farley!" And I'm like, I'm going to let you guys. If you guys don't have comments, that's fine, because you notice I'm not making a comment yet. But if you guys have any comments about Farley, do you have any thoughts?
My only comment, I know AR is definitely, I'm sure, has something to say here, but I just want to really quick say, for me, I'm staying, it's like the third rail for me. I'm staying away from anything that has to do with that whole deal. Don't feel comfortable talking about it. And I'm just, that's their business. And I'm not really going to say a thing. But AR, what do you want to say about that?
So for me, Lee, I don't know if you know much about my past, but being in the penitentiary for as long as I was, and being in the route of life that I was in, I made a lot of connections, and I became parts of organizations and affiliations that I wish I had never engaged. I wish I had never been a part of any of these things. Unfortunately, in the path of life that I was choosing at that time, it led me into certain places I didn't want to be. So there are people that are being spoken about that I know of. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not going to go high five them like we're best friends. And I got crushed when Farley got out of the penitentiary, and I was going up to the hearing, and everybody thought I was going up to meet Farley. Like, I had to go help him out of the penitentiary. Farley is not affiliated. I can't stand that people are putting him into these affiliations. He has nothing to do with the affiliation people are claiming he's a part of. Nothing. Nada. Nothing. I'm going to leave it at that. But
Yeah.
Farley, he has a track record of issues within the criminal world. I think he's dug himself into. He's not going to get many breaks moving forward if he continues to get caught doing the things he's doing. Like, he's going to do a lot of prison time if he continues to get caught.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but-
And I appreciate that. That's why I just wanted to ask. Like, I didn't want anybody to have to commit on it. And somebody in my chat said, "Well, we'll let Pav talk on Farley." And that's exactly, by the way, what I have done. Is because, Pavarotti started on Farley very, very early, and when I started my investigation, I had different leads that I was following on, and so that's kind of why we went different ways, is because he was already covering that well, right? And so if that's the route that you want to go, I was letting him lead and stay there, and I had my own theories, and that's why I didn't go there. So that's part of my answer of why I've been kind of hesitant about it. Is like, what can I tell you that Pavarotti hasn't already covered and weighed in more depth than I could even get into. So I've been in my wheelhouse, which is going down the rabbit holes I think were the leads that my gut told me to go.
Pete, I think now I have much more respect for the platform as a whole. I've learned more about the platform. I've learned more about what it takes to be a good creator, a respectful creator, one that carries himself with integrity and does what I can to present my thoughts, my opinions, my content. And I've learned that there's no point in me, because I've gone head to head with Pav. Like, I think people remember Pav and I have gone head to head pretty hard there for a while. And I've just learned a level of respect through my time here, doing content. And I give him all the respect in the world. It's his story that he's working on telling. It's his thoughts, it's his opinions, and who am I to tell him he's wrong? Who am I to say don't go that route? That's not my place. I respect what he's doing. I just disagree. And that's why when people's names like Farley, or when we bring in other family members of being potential CIs or various, I'm just very careful. I'm very distant from that conversation because I don't want to engage that type of stuff. It's a respect thing, and I'm cool with other people talking about it as long as they leave me out of it. As long as they leave me out of it.
Hey, I saw this in the chat. I don't know here. GoBot says, "Hey Pete, have you ever heard of Clyde Lewis from Ground Zero Radio? You remind me so much of him. It's definitely a compliment." Well, that's cool. I'm not familiar with that at all, or that person. I don't know. Do you guys have ever heard of Clyde Lewis before? Ground Zero Radio? I'm going to have to check that out.
I wanted to follow up on something that AR just said, which is I think this is important for me. I don't know if it's going to be great for everybody, but what he just said is exactly how I feel. Like, if I don't agree with Pavarotti or AR on something or you on something, that's no sign of disrespect. It's none. Because at the end of the day, you guys, any one of you guys out there who are covering this case might be right and I might have been wrong. And I'll freaking shake your hand like, good job. Like, there's no sign of disrespect, but that doesn't mean necessarily that I'm going to go down the same path that you. And at the end of the day, if you're right, fantastic. And I respect the shit out of anybody who's been spending so much time trying to get to the bottom. And I think it's great, to be honest with you, that we all have different wheelhouses, because if we were all covering the exact same thing, we would all be parodying each other and we'd look like a bunch of phonies. We all have our specialty. We all have our area. We all have our niche, and we can all respect other people, even if we don't agree with where they're going. So I'm glad AR said that, because that's the way I feel exactly.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly there for sure. I've watched Pavarotti's content. I'll admit, like AR said, and we all three know this, doing the creator bit here on YouTube is a lot of work, and to build a channel like he's built his channel, that's a lot of work. I mean, the guy's put the work in. But like anything, we all have our preferences. I might like watching a baseball game with this announcer versus that announcer. Is he giving me a different story that I'm not getting with the other one? No, but it's the delivery, and that's what I'm not a fan of. That does not mean that I don't agree with some things that he says. I don't agree with everything, but then none of us agree with everything each other
Right.
says. But
Yeah.
all I'm saying is I'm not a fan of the way he does what he does, but that's his thing, and he probably thinks the 666 seconds thing's asinine, and it probably is, but it certainly got some attention to get people to go, what the hell is this guy talking? What does 666 have to do with true crime?
Yeah.
So it's
I'm
just a goofy
blessed to
little.
have the community I have, guys. I have people all the time that come out and say, "You do know that creator's got 10 times the amount of people you have." And my comeback is, "You do know when I started this, I didn't think I'd get 10 subs.
Right.
I didn't think
Right.
I'd get to 10."
Right.
And then
Yeah.
I did. And then my wife says, "You're going to get to 100." And I said, No, I'll never get to 100. And I did. And now I'm in a place where I actually am content. I'm happy. Do I like the idea of getting bigger? Of course, we all do. But
I
I can't say a bad thing about where I'm at, right?
Yeah.
I mean, shit.
Right.
And I give respect to every other creator out there that's built their community and continues to fulfill what their community wants from them. So be it. Have fun. Even if you're telling the biggest fictional story in the world, if your crowd loves it and they spend time with you and build a very tight-knit community that supports each other, I'm all for it. Like, good work,
Right.
And that's why I'm blessed to be where I'm at, man. I'm just blessed to where I'm at.
Yeah, I get it a lot in the comments about Pavarotti too, and I think it's good that we addressed it. I think we all three could certainly say we respect what he's doing, and he's definitely putting in hard work.
I don't want to make it this. I definitely don't want to make this all about Pav. But one more thing I want to say about Pav is kind of funny. He's got super loyal fans. The most annoying thing I have is when his fans come to me and basically say, "DA, you can stop your channel right now because if you want to know what happened in this case, you just need to go listen to Pav. Shut your channel down. It's already been solved. Pav's got it. Everybody else can just close their channels. Pav's the only one you need to listen to." And I'm like,
Right.
how disrespectful is it for you to come to tell me, shut your channel down? Pav already has the case broke. Go watch him.
Lee, no joke. I got into an argument one time with Pav, and it was a back and forth video wise. It was like 2 or 3 days worth of videos. Next thing you know, I had lost 3,500 subscribers, and I was going down quick. And I was like, okay, do I apologize now, or what do I do? Do I try to make friends? But legitimately, you're right. He has very loyal followers, and they speak volumes about how they feel about his work. But you know what? We all do too. All three of us here on panel, we've earned the respects of those that care about us. And I'm excited to be where I'm at. I don't know where I'll be in the future, but right now I'm extremely happy. And I think that we can just continue to be respectful. We can acknowledge when people want to leave something in the comments. Okay, I acknowledge it. I saw it. I'm moving on now. Like, I'm not going to get in an argument about it. I'm moving on now.
Right.
And hopefully, people can give us that same respect too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Here's Sean Oliver says 666 wins the intro hands down. Ha ha. Definitely love those intros. You guys digging on it. I've been saying I'm going to do a playlist of some of the intros, the full intro, so you hear the whole thing. And I keep saying I'm going to do one with AR, and I need to get it done. I just keep getting busier. And they finally finished my bathroom project. If you notice, I don't have the Dexter plastic up behind me anymore. They finished that. Got a couple of little loose ends to tie up tomorrow, but it is functional and it's awesome. And I'm so happy that the VA gave me that grant to get that done. So if there's any vets out there that are disabled, there is a grant you can get. I believe it's federal. I'm sure it is if the VA is using it. So go to your VA and find out if you have something you need at your house to make your house handicap accessible, like I had with this bathroom. I couldn't get in it because it was so tiny. It was like a 4x5. I mean, it was the smallest bathroom I've ever seen. And it's just a a second bathroom, but the main one is upstairs, so that's why I need it down here. So that was awesome. But don't forget to like the video if you haven't already done that. Big thanks, you guys are like killing it in the chat. It's been hopping, and we're looks like we got quite a few people watching, so that's really cool. And if you're watching this on the replay, that's fine too. Drop a comment below. Let us know what you think. And
You know what's funny, by the way, us three, right? I have to take a moment to say this. Us three right here is when I started this journey on YouTube, I said to myself, YouTube is for young, pretty people. Now, I don't want to insult you guys, but I don't know that any of us go into the young, pretty people category.
No,
And here we are carving our own niche. And like AR said, I told my friend, never in a million years could I be a YouTuber. That's a laugh. It's a joke. And here I am doing my thing. And like you said, AR, it's a blessing. I'm glad that, I stopped listening to the noise of you can't do this. This is ridiculous. Start listening to your own negative self-doubt saying you can't do this. And just, I know what it's like, AR, to do the whole, I'll never have 10 subs. Okay, well, I'll never have 100 subs. I'll never get to the monetization step. I'll never get 1,000. And every time I'm like, well, shit, I'm just going to have to stop saying I'm never, because I don't know where the hell this is going.
right.
So, blessed is what we are.
It was really cool. I got mine monetized in like 3 weeks, I think.
Wow.
It was really fast. December of 23 was when the channel's been around since 2018 when I started the podcast, but we didn't really do anything with it. It just existed. And then in December of 23, I thought, I was semi-retired. Why not give it a shot?
Right.
I was getting ready to start writing another book. And I'm like, you know what? I've been saying I want to try this YouTube thing. Let me just try it one more time just to see if I can get something to go. And it's going to burn out. And I'll go back to writing the book, and that's fine. I'm retired now.
Yeah.
And then 3 weeks later, it's monetized. And as we all know, once that starts happening, then it's like almost like a drug. You know what I mean? You're getting more and more subs, and you're trying to put out better content. You really want to deliver the goods, but it's a breakneck speed to keep up with it. It really is. And then I got sick right in the middle of it all.
Yeah,
for a while. So
what an amazing comeback you had. I mean, I would think as a new YouTuber, I would think that would just cripple the channel to be gone for months, and you bounced right back. And
I gained subscribers while I was sick, which is unbelievable, really.
And I think AR helped you out with that a little bit. If I heard the story,
he did, helping me get the word out that I was down. My wife had contacted him because I wasn't even coherent. Was intubated for 2 weeks, so those first 2 weeks I was completely out of it, and then even for probably another 2 or 3 weeks after that, coming out of all those heavy drugs, I was not of right mind. My wife kept my cell phone so I wouldn't buy a home warranty or a car warranty when somebody calls about the stupid crap that they sell, and those dumb infomercial calls. But so I didn't even have my cell phone for a while just so I wouldn't do something dumb without realizing it. So anyway, great discussion here tonight, guys. Well, we've been, it's an hour and 12 minutes.
Yeah, we kind of got off the side tangent at the end about YouTube business.
I always go 90 minutes with these, just so that they don't get too.
He's trying to get rid of us, Lee. Look at him.
I hear it. Yeah,
there in the corner. He's like, are we going to literally make it to 90 minutes? I got to get rid of this AR clown up here.
Here, GoBot says it's that silky smooth voice, Pete. Oh, wow.
Nice.
I do want to give a little bit of a shout out if I can, Pete. I have some people, one of my favorite subscribers and members is out here in Vegas seeing the Scorpion. She's chasing a crush. Miss Marty is out here chasing her crush there with the Scorpion. She is literally stalking the band.
Oh, God. Any one member of the band or the whole band?
She likes a couple of them, but I think she does have a favorite. Kraus, I think.
Klaus is 5'2".
So
like a dwarf.
It's been really a pleasure to have out here. We've been able to spend a little bit of time together. We took some pictures, walked around. And I just want to give her a shout out. She's actually at a concert tonight, and she's going to be heading back home tomorrow. She's from your neck of the woods. They're in Indiana, so she'll be making that 3-day drive home starting tomorrow. But I do want to give her a little bit of a shout out, because that's what's so amazing, guys. When you actually get to meet some of these people that support us and back us, and they come in like you're something special. Like, I'm not anything special, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a normal human being. But damn, they make you feel good when they come in like you're a famous YouTuber. And I'm like, I know all of 500 people. All of 500 people. I hope she's enjoying her concert tonight. I know she was watching us a little bit before that, so I do want to give her a shout out.
They're a great live band. I saw them back in the 80s. They were amazing. Always have loved the Scorpions, or just Scorpions, I should say. Here, I got a nice comment from Bambino. Pete, you should do nighttime stories with that voice. I've been told that. I actually talked to my VA doctor today about what I think I have is a deviated septum. And I've been told that many, many times. But I've also been told and read that it could alter your voice if you get it fixed. And I learned this years ago, and I made my living talking by teaching classes and doing all the stuff I did, public speaking. And the thought of changing my voice was concerning, not to mention I was singing as well, or screaming, I should say, not singing. But and so I didn't want to have it done. I still don't want to have it done. I don't want to change my voice because it's been good to me. I've been able to make a living with it. So.
God, it's funny. It's hard not to digress on Freddie Mercury. Had the same kind of issue, right? He had a deformation issue in his mouth, and he thought that led to the reason why he had the voice that he had for,
Oh, that's right.
Like that, and he didn't get it fixed for the same reason, because it was what made him unique and made him special.
Interesting. Yeah. So anyway, we got about 15 minutes left. If anybody wants to. Get some questions or comments in or anything like that.
I got one for both of you. How long do you think it's going to take for Brian Koberger to be moved out of state?
Yeah, I do kind of anticipate that move.
It's very possible.
Yeah,
he's got to get beat up first, just so everybody knows. He's got to get beat up first.
Right. So that means probably, I know you gave a scenario in which he's going to, even in solitary confinement, they're going to get to him, and that's very plausible. But I was thinking it's going to be when he gets to general pop, because I figure he's going to eventually get out of his solitary confinement. But I don't know. Yeah, maybe in years, right?
Yeah,
so
but
maybe they'll move him someplace else for that reason, to get him away from
my prediction is he will have hands laid on him within the next 3 weeks in a very bad way.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And at that point in time, they'll make the decision on whether or not, that's what it takes. Everybody that gets moved out of state, it's because you've got it. Like, you got hit. Richard Allen got moved to Oklahoma because he got attacked in the penitentiary. People don't want to come out with that news, and the penitentiary doesn't want to share it, but that's how they get you moved. Something actually has to happen, not just a threat. So
I've seen that before too.
I predict he's going to be down in Arizona before the new year.
Really?
I think Brian Koberger will be in Arizona on the yard. God, I can't remember the name of it, but they have a segregation yard down there. It used to be an old rehabilitation yard, but now they've turned it into a segregation yard, and Idaho sends inmates there. So I have a gut feeling he'll be in Arizona, which is a transitional state for them, and then he'll go east from there, I think.
Huh.
The question is he going to survive the first one? Are they going to finish him off, or you think they're going to let him live, or is it just a roll of the dice on whether he survives it? It's kind of a dark conversation, but
yeah, this is one. I did a video yesterday on green light. Brian Koberger now was officially green lighted in the penitentiary. Which the bad thing about green lighting is this takes it out of just your race's hands. Now it's open to anybody and everybody on the yard. And it's mandated. So if anybody's out of their cell, when you're out of your cell, it's mandated. They have to get you. And if they don't, then they're green lighted. So it's a bad situation.
Yeah.
I want to say they're going to get him out of there before that type of harm is done to him. But in today's society, I mean, because he did include the kitchen on his complaint list, and that brings a lot of things into play, including correctional officers.
Right.
Those correctional officers kind of build bonds with the people working in the kitchen.
Yeah.
So that's just not a good scenario. Like, I wouldn't eat the prison food anytime soon. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
You're not going to get commissary. Like, people don't understand when he goes and he buys commissary now for everybody that wants to put money on his books, thinking they're supporting him commissary wise. That's getting taken, guys. Like, he ain't eating any honey buns anytime soon. The guards will not deliver it to his door. They won't do it because the other inmates will have a threat on that.
Wow.
Anytime he comes out to use the phone, because we know he likes to talk to mom, and his phone privileges should be approved soon, he's at major risk and danger because there's 3 phones in that pod. You can all see him clearly in the pictures. They're that caged area in the dead center of the pod. There's phones in those cages. That's where you use the phone. And all it takes is a guard to forget to lock the lock. I mean, it happens every day, guys. It happens every day.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's opportunities. There's opportunities. That's for sure.
He opened the door, and I know a lot of people are saying he didn't realize what he did. You know, I beg to differ. He was studying criminology. He was studying criminals.
Yeah.
He was studying these very things, and I just don't think he would have missed the details of what prison politics are about. You don't have to understand the full gamut of prison politics, but you have to know you don't tell on people.
Right.
I mean, snitches get stitches is a pretty well known. I think everybody's heard that.
Yeah.
Where he's at and what he just did is far worse than stitches.
Yeah, I don't know how. Yeah, I don't know why he makes those kind of mistakes. That if those stories are true, it's kind of inconceivable he'd make those kind of stupid mistakes. It just.
You know, my wife and I were talking about that, Lee, and she said it directly to me before I could even get it out of my mouth. It's death by inmate. It's clout.
Right.
This puts him on the map as getting taken out in the penitentiary. Talked about forever and always.
You know, one thing I wanted to chime in here on this conversation about Koberger and his education and how everybody was making it out like this guy was some sort of, you know, mental giant. And I'm not saying he wasn't a smart guy, but he didn't have a lick of friggin' common sense. And I think, you know, the term educated idiot is in play here, because I know somebody that works at a university that has criminal justice classes with professors that are lifelong students. They're PhDs, nothing against it. There's a need for that in the world, and that's their, you know, prerogative to do that. But not a damn one of them has ever stepped foot in a jail cell or ever stepped foot on a roadside stopping somebody for speeding at 2 a.m. on a dark road. None of them, but they're teaching policing classes. They're teaching correction officer classes, and it's like, so he's gone through all this training, but I don't think he understands like the raw reality of the situation, because that's not the stuff that you learn in a classroom.
Well, and I was just going to say, I don't want to get super philosophical, but the education system is designed for a certain type of brain and a certain type of thinker, and people can excel at taking tests, and that doesn't mean that they're smart. There's a difference between street smarts and book smarts, right? And so just because he has a mind, for example, that can do well on tests and can anticipate what the question's going to be, and some of us can't do that as well or whatever, doesn't mean that he's smart on the street, doesn't mean he's smart in human interactions, doesn't mean he's smart in whatever. So we can't forget that book smarts does not mean street smarts. And so
I agree.
In the penitentiary, You have what's called a greeter, meaning when a white boy hits a pod, he goes up to his cell, he throws all his stuff in the cell. 10 minutes later, you have a guy knocking on your front window of your cell. That's typically a porter of the building or somebody that's out and about, and it's their job to come to you. And they look right at you and they say, I'm breaking down what's up right now. Here's the rules. Here's the politics. Listen good. Listen. This is the only warning you get. And they break it down. And it happens no matter where you do your time. The minute that you're coming in, I mean, for sometimes it takes a day. If you're on lockdown or whatever, they get to you and they tell you what's up. They offer you a pair of shoes. I mean, I'm talking about my race, the white boys. This is what I know. I've seen the other races, but I can only speak upon what I know. We offer you a pair of shoes because you can't order a commissary for a period of time. So we get you shoes. We get you hygiene. We get you some extra clothes. We get you an extra blanket. We get you some necessities that you can't get your hands on for a while. We break down the rules for you. We break down, can't do this in the shower. You can do this on the phones. You can't make this noise at this time. There's rules.
Yeah.
And we break them down for you because if your race, and this is West Coast, I speak of West Coast where I've done the most of my time. If I'm your greeter and I'm in the pod with you and a white boy runs out and just does something completely stupid, other races look at us like, wait, you didn't show this guy what's up? Like, now it's an issue between the races. So we really nullify that. We do a lot of teaching. People need to understand. We as prison inmates understand somebody's brand new. And just because Brian Kober came in for the crimes that he did, still he's going to pass the paperwork check. He's going to pass the very, basic things to where we move forward and we get him into the pod. We get him settled because if we don't, it creates more issues. And things can be handled down the road. If there's issues that need to be handled, they can be handled down the road. First thing is get Brian into the pod, get him settled, get the pod back to calm, get the food served, get the commissary out here. So, I mean, these people that tell me that he didn't understand, he was told what was up. Right. He was told what was up. Now, they don't break it down like don't fill out kites about the food.
Right. That should be common sense.
They need to do that. You know what I mean? But
I think we can agree book smarts and street smarts, two different things. And
that was great. That was great insight by Yair, because that's exactly how I believe. I know he's right because he's been there. But when he was saying that, it's like exactly right. That you're going to get taught the rules by your group. You're going to be like, you don't go over to this place. You don't do this. You don't say this. You keep your mouth shut. You don't do this. And so totally. Great insight on that. That's great.
Yeah, it is the same way in the Army.
They tell you everything. So sorry, Pete. I didn't mean to cut you off, my friend.
Oh, no. I was just going to say it's the same way in the Army, and basic training is very similar to prison. You can't call on the phone whenever you want. You got to eat this. You got to do that. And they're pretty brutal, but you learn real quick. And when you get somebody that's new, you get them updated as quick as possible, because the last thing you want, like AR said, is somebody acting the fool. And then everybody looking at you didn't give this guy the lecture. Why is this guy doing his own thing? So you want everybody to be flying right. And so
it becomes a real mess, guys. When it becomes a racial issue between races, it's a real mess because now you've involved everybody into the mess. When it stays just within your little group of people, you can pretty much iron it out pretty quick. Like it gets ironed out. Even if you got to dink the guy up and send him on his way, it gets ironed out real quick. When it involves other races and it becomes a much bigger spectrum, like what this is potentially becoming, guys, he told on another race in the kitchen. He told on another race. That's not good.
No.
That's not good.
No, and and sadly enough, and I know Pete wants to wrap the hell up, but Steve Gonzalez is enjoying it because he knows Koberger's making a bunch of mistakes, and the ass kicking's coming, and and you got people on Banfield on News Nation and stuff like that laughing about how it's going to be rough for Koberger coming up, and they're all eating, and maybe if you're a person who says Koberger did it, maybe you're okay with that, but he's making a lot of mistakes, and I think AR's right to kind of. And my closing thought is. Somebody's going to get to BK pretty soon, and then he's going to get moved someplace for his own safety, and it's just going to be a question whether he survives that or not. But.
Now, there's one saving grace, guys. There's one. If the head speaker of the White Boys that runs that yard has some sort of feeling towards Brian that Brian could benefit him in some way, he'll put a stop to everything, and he'll say, leave the kid alone. I'm taking him under my wing. I'm now his yard pops. Mm-hmm. And I wrote a part of it. I was writing a book there for a minute, and I talked about yard pops and what it legitimately means when somebody with credibility steps up and says, he's under my wing. So now if you have any issue with him, you have to handle it with me because he's my kid now. So if somebody in that penitentiary steps up and says, hey, look, this kid's, he's going to benefit me. Like, I got need for this kid. He's off limits. Now he's off limits to everybody, including the guards. He's off limits to everybody.
Right.
Because that main guy's got a lot of pull. Not just there, but across a very widespread, area of penitentiaries and even territories of other states. And if, that's Brian Koberger's out, is if somebody in there says, you know what? I don't like what I'm seeing on mainstream news right now. I think you're getting screwed right now. I'm going to put my foot down, and you're with me now. Then he's protected. Then he's good. And that might be why he wants to go to B-Pod. He knows something about B-Pod of why he wants to go to B-Pod.
Yeah.
I guarantee you there's a speaker over in B-Pod. I got this gut feeling he got a kite saying, come over here and you'll be okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
I wondered if he would use his intelligence to maybe start to become a jailhouse lawyer type with his ability to write and communicate, and he's a stickler for the rules. I mean, maybe he would be a quick learner and be able to help in that way.
With what he just did, that's all off the table now, guys. It's going to take some time. He just wrote kites to the wrong people. He should have been writing kites to the White Boys saying, hey, is there anything that I could do to help you guys? You see my paperwork. You see what I'm about. I have the capability of researching for you if need be. Anything other than what he just did. Because what he just did just tied his shoelaces in a really bad knot. And I'm telling you, through experience, that's not a place to be, man, because there's other people that get sent to your cell to handle this, and you don't want them at your cell. Like, you don't want to see them come into your cell. And unfortunately, we're talking about this, but I mean, damn, man, I don't even know what to say, because I understand people are saying the system let Brian Koberger down, let him get himself into this position. Not really. We're all grown men, man. I mean, you keep your mouth shut. When you go into a place you're uncomfortable, just stay quiet.
Right.
If you go to jail and you've never been to jail, don't say anything.
Right.
If you go to prison, you've never been to prison, don't say anything. People will help you if you're quiet. Like, you'll meet people like you. If you're a dorky kid, other dorky kids will come hang out with you. They'll walk laps with you. If there's always somebody similar to you locked up, and those are typically the people that connect, and they'll help you through the tough times. But when you start talking right away, you're in trouble. Yeah, he's in trouble. He is in trouble.
We might have to pick this up again next week if you both are available. We might have to continue this conversation.
Shut us off, Pete. We're just going to keep talking. You got.
Wow, the crowd's still at fever pitch here. Thank you all so much for for getting on this live with us. And we tried to get to as many of you as we could, but so many chats flying by. It was a workout just to keep up with it. But you guys are amazing. Big thanks to Donna Lembo for being a great mod, and any of the other mods that were out there for all the channels. Thank you all. And great to see both AR and Lee again. And we'll have to have the trio back. Chappie says he loves the three of us together, so that's awesome. And just watch it with that hat, Lee. With the
I know. I try to change it out, but the Moscow thing might have been a bit much, right?
I had so many different ideas, and I went
afraid to see what Pete does to my hat. I know.
Yeah, I'll have to do something. All right, guys. Well, you be good, and we'll talk to you next time.
All right, take it easy, guys. Thanks for having me,
guys.
You bet.